Good afternoon. Welcome back to Passionate World Talk Radio, a wholly owned subsidiary of Global Media Network LLC. Educate, enlighten, and entertain. And today, on Lest We Forget Historical, we are going to ask the question, what is the economic index? You hear it bandied around all the time, and yet nobody apparently really seems to want to know, what is it? What does it do? Why do we need it? Why should we pay attention? So I did some delving into it. And the first thing I can tell you is that it's a statistic, a statistical measure of change in a represent group of individual data points. Okay, sure. Goobly glob. So what does that mean in English precisely? Well, there are several types of economic indexes, including one, a composite index of leading indicators, which combines 10 components designed to forecast the upcoming performance of the U.S. economy. All right, I can believe that. Two, weekly economic index, which provides a signal of the state of the U.S. economy based on data available at a daily or weekly frequencies. So, okay, why is it important? Well, because it's a statistic that helps measure a change on a group of data that's collected. And the data may be derived from any number of sources, including company performance, prices, productivity, and, you named it, employment. Economic indexes track economic health from different perspectives. Examples include the Consumer Price Index, which measures changes in retail prices paid by you, the consumer, and the Cost of Living Index, which measures the relative cost of living over time. Influential global financial indices, such as the Global Dow and the NASDAQ composite, track the performance of selected large and powerful companies in order to evaluate and predict economic trends. The Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500 primarily track U.S. markets, though some legacy international companies are included. The Consumer Price Index tracks the variation in prices for different consumer goods and services over time in a constant geographical location, and is integral to calculations used to adjust salary, your husband's salary, bond interest rates, and tax thresholds for inflation. The GDP deflator index, although it could be an insect, who knows, or real GDP, measures the level of prices of all new domestically produced final goods and services in an economy. Market performance indices include the labor market index / job index and proprietary stock market index investment instruments offered by brokerage houses. Such a mouthful. Some display market variations. For example, The Economist provides a Big Mac index that expresses the adjusted cost of a globally ambiguous Big Mac as a percentage over or under the cost of a Big Mac in the US in USD. Such can be used to help forecast currency values. An index number is an economic data figure reflecting price or quantity compared with a standard or base value. The base usually equals 100, and the index number is usually expressed as 100 times the ratio to the base value. For example, if a commodity costs twice as much in 1970 as it did in 1960, its index number would be 200 relative to 1960. Index numbers are used especially to compare business activity, the cost of living, and enjoyment. They enable economists to reduce unwieldy business data into easily understood terms. In contrast to a cost of living index based on the true but unknown utility function, a superlative index number is an index number that can be calculated. Thus, superlative index numbers are used to provide a fairly close approximation to the underlying cost of living index in a wide range of circumstances. Some indexes are not time series. Spatial indexes summarize real estate prices or toxins in the environment or availability of services across geographic locations. Indexes may also be used to summarize comparisons between distributions of data within categories. For example, purchasing power parity comparison of currencies are often constructed with indexes. There is a substantial body of economic analysis concerning the construction of index numbers, desirable properties of index numbers, and the relationship between index numbers and economic theory. A number indicating a change in magnitude as of price, wage, employment, or production shifts relate to the magnitude at a specified point, usually taken as 100. So what is the index number? Well, an index number is the term used by economists to describe the limitation of statistical indexing when used as a measurement for cost of living increases. For example, the Consumer Price Index, a reference year's, quote, market basket, unquote, is assigned an index number of 100 in 2019. If a market basket price is 55 and the basket were to double the following year in 2020, then the index would rise to 200. This is done by performing a simple calculation. Divide the new year market basket price by the reference year, otherwise known as the base year, price, and subsequently multiply the quotient by 100. While the CPI is a conventional method to measure inflation, it doesn't express how price changes directly after all consumer purchases of goods and services. It either understates or overstates cost of living increases. This is the limitation of the CPI that is described as the index number problem. There is no, theoretically, ideal solution to this problem. In practice, for retail price, the basket of goods is updated incrementally every few years to reflect changes. The fact remains that many economic indicators taken over the long term are not really like-for-like comparisons, and this is an issue taken into account by researchers in economic history. So what do you need to know? The economic index measures everything that affects you and your pocketbook and your standard of living. Employment, salary, purchase of goods and services, you're the consumer. You, what is made up of the economy. If you save your dollars and don't spend them, the economy will do one thing. And if you go out and spend a lot of money, the economy is another thing. That's why at Christmas time, you get the deals that you get because, folks, a lot of your retailers, whether they're in living rooms or selling candy or even selling soda or selling clothing or bathing suits, doesn't matter. They have to get rid of last year's stock and make room for the new stock coming in. That's why it's such an ideal time to buy a new car at the end of the year, because the guitar dealers really want to get rid of all their old stuff. So don't think they're doing it for you. They're doing it for them. Economic index. Think about it. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon on Lest We Forget Historical. You can see this all over again over at youtube.com/@passionalworld or youtube.com/passionalworldradio, which has the audio. You can also see it at https://passionalworldtalkradio.com. Scroll down to get to State of Current Affairs. Click on the link, click on the Google link, and it'll take you into YouTube where you can see all the videos that have been released for that week. You can also go over to our other social media sites, facebook.com/Passionate World Radio, linkedin.com/Lillian Cauldwell, tumblr.com/PWTR, and take advantage of what you can find and listen to. We are brought to you by 3 companies: a publishing house in Singapore. Interested in having your memoirs exposed to the world, help somebody else out of a jam? Then text 484-364-1032 or email pwrnetworkllc@gmail.com. Also brought to you by Ruby.ai, the Flex company. Interested? It's a no-brainer. It's innovative. And try it. You'll adore it. http://AIwithlillian.com. Go take the demo. Sign up for a monthly subscription. The more you invest, the more you get out of it. Great thinking. And the obstacles of podcasting. Go over to https://education.passionateworldtalkradio.com/masterclass. Bring a friend. One price for 2. 2 months, 1 hour, 5 days a week. Anybody from middle school all the way up to a great-grandmother or grandfather. The world of podcasting and AI are here. Or in the great words of Lillian Cauldwell, the 21st century is all about communication and verbal. Thank you very much. Have a great week. Thank you for joining us.